The most terrifying character in Jujutsu Kaisen is undoubtedly Sukuna. Following the popular Saitama and Gojo videos, it's now Sukuna's turn to engage the audience. How far would Sukuna realistically get in Dragon Ball? Which villains or Z warriors would he be able to challenge, fight on equal terms, win, or even those he wouldn't stand a chance against? Is he one of those characters who is a badass villain in one anime, but would simply lose to a Cyberman in the Dragon Ball universe? After researching for this video, I realized Sukuna is stronger than he appears. Actually, much stronger than it seems, remembering that the basis of this video is the original Jujutsu Kaisen manga and the original Dragon Ball manga. Remembering that there is no Dragon Ball Z manga, the story of Dragon Ball Z is in the manga itself called Dragon Ball, and if necessary, we will also use the Dragon Ball Super manga, not counting fillers from either side, neither Dragon Ball nor Jujutsu Kaisen, but being able to encompass the original works as a whole. Doing an analysis like this is quite a lot of work, and if you want me to continue with this frame to where a certain character would go in the Dragon Ball universe, leave a like, because despite the videos being successful, they are a lot more work. So I count on your support for a like and for a hi down below, okay? So let's go! To start, it's important for you to know that I'm gonna use the maximum power version of Sukuna, in addition to, of course, powers that haven't even appeared in the anime. If I mention an unfamiliar power, it might be from a part you haven't read yet. Also, I've never read Jujutsu Kaisen in Portuguese, so I may use my own translations for technique names. Maybe not the way it's called in the dubbing, if there is dubbing. I don't even know if there is. I've never read anything from Jujutsu in Portuguese, but I'm sure you guys will be able to understand the terms I'm gonna use, alright? In addition to using Sukuna at his maximum power, let's set some criteria for the fights to be fair. Some might say, but outside of a cursed context in another world, the Jujutsu Kaisen techniques wouldn't work. And the Dragon Ball techniques also in a Jujutsu Kaisen world, like the Ki for example, which is something that doesn't exist in Jujutsu, also wouldn't work. And actually the rules here for this video are everyone can be affected by domains and Kai. All characters can use their powers, making everything fairer. Let's consider Sukuna in Megumi's body. Why? Because Sukuna in Megumi's body is his strongest version in Jujutsu Kaisen. But why? I'll explain. To start, we have the use of Megumi's cursed technique. Sukuna can use the 10 Shadows. A highly versatile technique combined with his own absurd power. He summons and enhances the Shikigamis, mainly Mahagara, something that even Megumi couldn't fully control. Harmony of body and soul. Despite Sukuna being originally more dangerous in his original body, the fact that he can tame Megumi's techniques makes the strength expand in unprecedented ways. Strategic trap. He uses Megumi's soul to manipulate the resonance of the 10 Shadows technique and break barriers that would normally limit him. Combination of skills. He can access his own domain expansion, Malevolent Shrine, and merge with the 10 Shadows domain expansion, a feat no other user has achieved. If we only consider brute strength and experience, Sukuna in his original body was already a monster, but in Megumi's body he reaches a new level due to compatibility and innovation in the use of abilities. Alright, and what will be Sukuna's main weapons to survive in the Dragon Ball universe, or even kill such powerful characters? The Kaminoroshi no Hai, the Divine Flame, is one of Sukuna's most powerful abilities, and one of the factors that make his version in Megumi's body the strongest of all. But what is the Divine Flame? Unlike conventional cursed fire techniques, this flame cannot be extinguished or neutralized by normal means. This makes it one of the most lethal forms of attack in the series. But why is it so powerful? Because it burns everything permanently. Sukuna's flames are immensely destructive, able to consume anything without being extinguished. This reminds of the game technique Extreme Fire Shot, but it's much stronger. Above all, it kills instantly, origin and uniqueness. So far, the Divine Flame doesn't seem to be a technique inherited from Megumi's body, but rather something unique to Sukuna. This suggests he keeps his original abilities after changing bodies, including combining with 10 Shadows. If he can mix this flame with Shikigamis, he could potentially create new extremely devastating attacks. Sukuna in the original body, or in Megumi's body, the Divine Flame suggests that Sukuna was already extremely strong before possessing Megumi. However, the combination of 10 Shadows plus Divine Flame makes Sukuna in Megumi's body the most destructive version possible. He later possesses a Dragon Ball character in the video. Well, Megumi's body gives him one of the best offensive combinations in the series, but would these be his only weapons? Actually no, Sukuna has a skill called World Dismantling. This technique manifests in Sukuna's enhanced domain expansion. While the Malevolent Shrine was already devastating by allowing unlimited cuts without the need for a barrier, World Dismantling takes this to another level, having a global area of effect. Sukuna can cut everything in the space around him without restrictions of conventional domains. And what makes this technique so powerful is its adaptability to materials and energy. Unlike normal cuts, this technique can automatically adjust to what it's trying to cut. It overcomes opponents' resistance, as even barriers or brute defenses, like Gojo's, can be hit fatally. This ability is one of the reasons why he was able to eliminate Gojo. 10 Shadows plus Sukuna equals maximum potential. Sukuna elevated the Zenin clan's special 10 Shadows technique to a higher level. He tamed a Hagara, a feat no previous user accomplished. He was able to create new abilities, such as using the Shikigamis tactically while attacking with his own skills. Sukuna evolved the Shikigami by strengthening them with his immense Cursed energy. He showcased his mastery by merging techniques, as seen with Mahoraga and the World's Dismantling, proving he can wield the 10 Shadows technique better than Megumi. The Divine Flame is a very powerful ability, but it has weaknesses that may not be significant in the Jujutsu universe, but are certainly major here. The one-on-one Operation Vow was made before the introduction of the technique. In Dragon Ball battles, such as the Saiyan or Frieza sagas, fighting multiple characters could be problematic. However, this video compares Sukuna one-on-one against characters further ahead, so it won't significantly impact the comparison. A possible weakness of Sukuna's techniques would be a need to use hand signs. After all, this would make the technique slower, and we know that in Dragon Ball, the characters have an absurdly fast reaction speed, which wouldn't give Sukuna time to make hand signs during the battle. In addition, some of his techniques require him to aim, meaning the displacement of the body he is facing would also be a problem, and perhaps even an inability to visualize opponents faster than the eyes. Whether Sukuna needs hand signs for his techniques depends on the specific technique, however it's unclear if he needs to aim them. The 10 Shadows technique requires hand signs to perform. To summon Shikigamis, 10 Shadows users like Megumi and Sukuna must form specific hand signs. However, Sukuna has shown such mastery of the technique that he can reduce or ignore some requirements. For example, he can summon Mahogara and other creatures more fluidly and quickly than Megumi, Sukuna's personal techniques. No, Sukuna can activate dismantling and dividing rift cutting techniques with just his will, without needing gestures. Divine Flame, there's no confirmation that hand signs are needed, and what about the aim? For basic dismantling and dividing rift cuts, Sukuna seems to need to aim, but his accuracy is almost perfect as seen in his fight against Jogo and Gojo. However, in Dragon Ball, the character's rapid movement could pose a problem. In his domain expansion, Malevolent Shrine, and World Dismantling, he doesn't need to aim, as his attacks automatically hit all targets within the area. Now let's discuss a crucial point in all analyses, the impact of the blows and the level of destruction. Well, being conservative, Sukuna has at least the level of destruction of a city to a large city. According to Gojo himself, he defeated Gojo while holding back. In chapter 258, for example, using his incomplete domain, not being his strongest version, and while quite fatigued and injured, he swept an entire city with ease, using his partial domain and just the power of common dismantling. His strength must be far beyond that, city level for his attacks that could indeed be used against opponents. And what about his speed? Well, Sukuna's speed is probably massively hypersonic. Some argue his level is much higher, but I'll explain why I don't think that makes sense, okay? In the Jujutsu Kaisen manga, Hajime Kashimo has an innate technique called Genju Kohaku, or Mythical Beast Amba, which allows him to convert his cursed energy into electricity, manifesting various electrical phenomena. And these electrical phenomena seem to be really literal natural phenomena, like for example, a literal lightning bolt. So at the very least, Sukuna would have the speed of a lightning bolt. After all, when fighting Kashimo, Sukuna dodged a close-range electromagnetic wave. And many might argue, but an electromagnetic wave in fact would have the speed of light. Moreover, Sukuna accomplished all of this while still being nerfed, and this is indeed true. Gege Akutami, in response to a fan, stated that when in doubt, he exaggerates. This leaves us with two possibilities. Either Sukuna does not have the speed of light, and these waves are slower than the speed of light, even though in real life they are not. Or everything that comes before and everything that comes after the manga is simply a great inconsistency. I don't like the idea of a light-speed Sukuna for a few reasons. And I'm going to list 3 obvious things that people will say about Kashimo's electromagnetic wave issue. 1. He was dodging in anticipation, meaning he wasn't reacting to the speed of the attack itself, but to the opponent's movement before the attack was fired. This basically works when the fighter reads the enemy's movement before the attack is launched, and dodges before the blow is actually fired. It doesn't mean that he is reacting to the speed of the attack, but rather to the opponent's preparatory movement. Like, for example, a gunslinger from the Old West doesn't react to the bullet, but to the opponent's hand movement grabbing the gun. In boxing, a fighter doesn't react to the punch at the time, but rather by anticipating the opponent's shoulder movement. Furthermore, regarding the speed of light, electromagnetic waves only reach the speed of light in a vacuum. If I can dodge a ball moving at 100 kilometers per hour, does that make me 100 kilometers per hour fast? All these arguments are enough to refute this for me, but what really makes me hesitant to say he's at the speed of light is that it would completely destroy the power scale of Jujutsu Kaisen. If Sukuna were at the speed of light, then many other people would be much faster than we know they are. In the fight, following the confrontation with Kashima, Itadori, Maki, Kusabe, and others managed to keep up with Sukuna. This, coupled with the most obvious arguments I've already made, make me place Sukuna at the level of destruction, perhaps of at most an island, and in some range of massively hypersonic speed. We also need to discuss the speed of the attacks. The Infinite Flame, for example, is a slow strike, and he is obliged to use cleavage and dismantle before using the flames. And it works best using his domain, having explosive power. His flames are significantly stronger than those in the game, which already approached 1,400 degrees. How does cleavage work? Well, this is one of Sukuna's most efficient attacks, so it would certainly be worth considering. Basically, if the enemy has a lot of resistance and cursed energy, cleavage adjusts its power to ensure that the cut is fatal. This ability was used by Sukuna to instantly slice Hanami and Jogo, showing that special level curses cannot withstand this attack. Against Gojo, the technique cut him in half, bypassing his immense physical resistance and cursed energy. Let's split the dismantling of the cleavage Batsu Kai here. Dismantling. Basic and quick cut, used to cut weak objects and targets, ordinary people, weak curses, buildings, and ignores durability, as it even opened up space. Cleavage, Batsu, smart cut that adjusts its strength based on the target's cursed energy, ensuring that the attack is lethal. Extremely resilient curses and sorcerers cannot resist this. Now let's talk about Sukuna's stamina. Sukuna has high resistance and regeneration comparable to Gojo's. He is capable of healing and even performing self-cooperations using cursed energy, dealing well with injuries. In addition, he rarely gets tired and can try to possess someone through his finger, making the victim's survival extremely difficult. This will certainly be a point here in this video. And now we finally go to the comparisons with the Dragon Ball characters, starting with the characters from the classic. In the beginning, he could surpass almost all characters, except if it was desired for him to be killed by Shenlong. He would struggle against Master Kami, Piccolo Daimao, Boss Rabbit, and Akuman. As for Boss Rabbit, if he touched Sukuna, Sukuna would probably turn into a carrot. If Sukuna had attacked Boss Rabbit from the beginning using a domain or divine flame, Boss Rabbit would have been easily defeated. Another character that could challenge Sukuna would be Akuman. He has an ability called Akuma no Seidan, or Devil's Wave, in which he fires an evil wave that makes the evil within the victim's heart explode, destroying them from the inside. Since Sukuna is definitely evil, it would work on him. He also flies swiftly through the air, wields a trident in combat, and possesses enhanced demonic resistance compared to normal humans. But he would need to hit this Devil Wave on Sukuna, and that probably wouldn't happen with Sukuna winning a hypothetical fight. Now let's analyze Master Roshi. This fight here is much more difficult to analyze, so let's proceed with caution. Could Sukuna's world dismantling dominion kill Master Roshi from Classic Dragon Ball? And the answer is yes. Master Roshi from Classic Dragon Ball could be destroyed by Sukuna's world dismantling dominion, and here's why. How does the world's most dismantling dominion work? Domain expansion, Malevolent Shrine. When Sukuna activates his domain, all areas within it are automatically sliced, with no chance of dodging. World dismantling. A global cut without domain barrier that can hit anything within the technique's range. Infinite and precise cuts. Unlike a physical attack, Sukuna's cuts are cursed, which means they affect both living and spiritual matter. It can cut very resistant targets. Sukuna managed to cut Gojo in half, someone who has a defense technique that Master Kami, for example, does not have. But would Master Kame have any chance to physically resist? Kame is one of the strongest humans of his time, but still much weaker than Goku and Piccolo from the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. He can dodge projectiles and fight agile warriors, but lacks the speed to escape Sukuna's dominion. Kai attacks. Even if he used the maximum Kamehameha, he wouldn't hit Sukuna before being cut, despite Master Kame's moon-level attack potential surpassing Sukuna's attacks. Conclusion: Master Kame wouldn't have the resistance to survive Sukuna's infinite cuts, so he would die instantly within the domain or by the world's dismantling. But would that be Sukuna's limit? If Sukuna faced Piccolo Daimao from classic Dragon Ball, the winner would depend on the circumstances of the fight, but Piccolo Daimao would have a much better chance of winning than Master Kame. Let's compare Sukuna and Piccolo Daimao's physical strength. Sukuna is stronger. Piccolo Daimao is extremely strong by all Jujutsu Kaisen standards, capable of fighting elite sorcerers and cutting through even the most resistant targets. He can destroy entire cities with a single blow and kill high-level fighters with ease. Speed: Sukuna and Piccolo Daimao are both massively hypersonic. Sukuna dodged electric attacks from Kashimo, while Piccolo kept up with Goku at the end of classic Dragon Ball. Durability: Sukuna has absurd regeneration, hardly gets tired, and can survive lethal attacks. Piccolo Daimao, high durability and regenerative ability as a Mako Zaijin, also survive fatal attacks. Fighting technique: Sukuna, domain expansion, divine flame, 10 shadows, cleave, and dismantle. Piccolo Daimao, Kai explosion, partial regeneration, telekinesis, and flight. Regeneration: Sukuna heals and operates on himself with cursed energy. Piccolo Daimao regenerates parts of his body, but if he loses his head, he dies. But what would happen in the fight? Sukuna uses Malevolent Shrine, a domain expansion. Piccolo Daimao lacks resistance to cursed energy and would be automatically cut inside the domain. While Piccolo's regeneration could help, he dies if cut in half or decapitated. In a short fight using this strategy, Sukuna wins 8 out of 10 times. Piccolo Daimao annihilates cities using ki blasts in a direct confrontation without a specific location. Sukuna has no defense against ki attacks, as they are pure energy and cannot be cut or blocked like cursed techniques. Piccolo Daimao can use telekinesis to immobilize Sukuna and kill him with an energy attack. Sukuna has high regeneration, but not as powerful as Piccolo Daimao, who can regrow his arm instantly. If the fight lasts too long, Piccolo can overwhelm Sukuna with raw power and beat him 7 out of 10 times in this scenario. Yes, Sukuna could kill Piccolo Daimao if he uses domain expansion early and cuts Piccolo before he can react. But if Piccolo flies and fires Kai attacks from a distance, Sukuna would have no defense against this type of energy, which would make the fight difficult for him. Piccolo Daimao would likely win in most scenarios, but Sukuna could emerge victorious if he surprises Piccolo in a swift battle. Sukuna wins with domain expansion if used before Piccolo attacks. Piccolo wins in a prolonged fight using distanced Kai attacks. Piccolo's regeneration is a huge advantage, and he can simply blow up everything around if he is in danger. Now let's compare Sukuna with another classic Dragon Ball character, Arale. I could have even mentioned her in the Saitama video, since Saitama and Arale are quite similar characters. Both made to adapt to basically any type of combat with a kind of infinite evolution. In the case of Arale, we have already seen that at a certain point, she with just a little punch simply cracked the entire Earth in half, dividing the planet. Her power is basically infinite. In Dragon Ball Super, she beats up Vegeta. Dragon Ball Super contains ideas from toy animation that could be considered filler, but the series itself is not filler. But we know that Arale is kind of a comic character, so in 100% of the scenarios she would defeat Sukuna very easily. But to say that Sukuna stops here and end the video would not be fair. After all, Arale is a comedy character. She has basically infinite power because she was made not to lose. So let's compare with another character. I think you should know this one. Sukuna versus Goku. Yes, now let's talk about Goku from the 23rd Martial Arts Tournament in Classic Dragon Ball. Who would win? Comparing Goku and Sukuna's abilities, Sukuna has extreme strength by Jujutsu Kaisen standards, able to cut resistant beings. Goku from the 23rd Classic Dragon Ball Tournament broke mountains with a punch and sent Piccolo Jr. flying. For speed, Sukuna is massively hypersonic, dodging Kashimo's electric attacks. The text about Goku's speed is incomplete. Can dodge rays, cross great distances in milliseconds, and fight while almost invisible from being so fast. Resistance: Sukuna, absurd regeneration and hardly gets tired, survived fatal attacks. Goku survived devastating attacks from Piccolo, including a K-beam that opened a hole in the ground. Fighting techniques: Sukuna, domain expansion, divine flame, 10 shadows, cleavage, and dismantling. Goku, Kamehameha, Kai Blasts, Nazokin, After Image Technique, Extremely Advanced Hand-to-Hand Combat, and so on. Sukuna can heal and operate on himself with Cursed Energy. Goku doesn't have instant regeneration, but withstands serious injuries and fights to the limit, so what would happen in the fight? Scenario 1. Sukuna activates Domain Expansion, using Sanctuary and Malevolent techniques. The problem is that Goku is too fast. He can get out of the attack area before Sukuna finishes the activation. Goku already fought against enemies so fast they became invisible to normal eyes. If Goku gets hit, he can withstand the initial cuts, since he survived attacks from Piccolo Jr. that could destroy entire cities. According to Dragon Ball guides, like Daisen Shuset and Super Legendary Manga, Piccolo Jr. and Goku's most powerful attacks, such as the Kamehameha, could destroy objects ranging from the moon to small planets. And even if Goku didn't survive the cuts, probably due to speed, Sukuna wouldn't be able to cut him. That is, if he was caught before leaving the attack area. Goku escapes from the domain and defeats Sukuna with a strong blow or a charged Kamehameha. If Goku takes the first hit, he survives and counters. If he senses the attack, he dodges and swiftly defeats Sukuna. Scenario 2, straight fight, no domain. Goku is absurdly faster than Sukuna. Despite Sukuna's incredible reflexes, he is not as fast as Goku from the 23rd tournament, who moved faster than the human eye could see. A simple punch from Goku sent Piccolo Jr. flying and destroyed part of the arena, while Sukuna has not shown strength effects comparable to this. Goku could simply punch Sukuna once and break his entire body. In this scenario, Goku wins with a clean hit. Even if Sukuna tries to use cleavage or dismantling, Goku is too fast to be hit. If Goku decides to use a full Kamehameha, Sukuna would be completely vaporized. Would Sukuna have any chance? No. The only scenario where he could do something is if Goku really underestimated him and let himself be hit by the domain expansion, but even then, Goku would have the resistance to withstand and retaliate with full force. If Piccolo Jr., who was strong enough to destroy cities, couldn't defeat Goku, Sukuna wouldn't stand a chance. Conclusion. Sukuna couldn't match Goku's speed. His attacks wouldn't deal enough damage to rapidly defeat Goku. Goku could knock out Sukuna with a single well-placed blow. If Goku used a charged Kamehameha, Sukuna would be vaporized. Final result, Goku wins 10 out of 10 times without difficulty. Well, if we were to consider stronger characters like Cell and Majin Buu, who have high regeneration and the ability to destroy solar systems or more, it would also be completely impossible for Sukuna to win. In Dragon Ball Super, for example, he traversed the universe in 20 minutes, having a speed of 2.5 quadrillion times the speed of light, so there's not much to do here either. Please like this video as it took significant effort to create, subscribe to see future content. Comment below which anime you want next. If you're an expert in any anime like Knights of the Zodiac, Boku no Hero, or others, send an email. I may not have seen it. You could assist me in creating the next one of these. Doing it alone only works for animes I've watched. For Knights of the Zodiac, my knowledge isn't deep enough, despite knowing quite a bit. I'm eager to do it. That's it for now, guys. Check out the related videos and welcome to Universe Z. Bye.